I'm here. Thank you so much, Manping, and thanks for inviting us. Dr. Chung Simpo is one of our co-chairs for RRAAM, the Reproductive Rights Advocacy Alliance. He couldn't be here today because he's in the UK with his daughter, and I'm happy to say he just became a grandfather today about a couple of hours ago, so that's good, and he wishes all the best. He's a man that's very passionate about the issue, and actually all of us in RRAAM are very passionate about the issue. And so I'm here today to, I was asked to set the scene about what's been happening, and a case study of, in our mind, is the intersectionality of injustice. I've termed it as Semiconductors, SRHR sentencing, and you will see how really the great injustice that happens to people that are not actually given any rights in Malaysia. Sometimes we think whether they're actually acknowledged as humans in human rights. So it makes us think a lot of where we are and where we want to go. And so RRAAM, I'll just keep saying RRAAM, the Reproductive Rights Advocacy Alliance. We're an alliance of individual and NGO members. Lots of women's rights organizations are part of us. We work closely with WAO, also Tenaga Nita, and many others. The Association of Women Lawyers, RRAAM, and many others. We also have members made of medical professionals, the legal field, and social workers. So we're concerned on teen pregnancies and baby dumping and erratic abortion access in Malaysia, which is, you see it all the time in the news. And we advocate for improved access to better contraceptive and safe abortion services in Malaysia. So I'm here to speak to you about an historic event that started on October 13th in 2014. It's about the first women ever to be charged and imprisoned for an abortion in a registered clinic in Malaysia. So as you can see, it was all in the papers, and that was one of the problems as well. So, and literally they plastered everybody's face on, and it went against every principle and ethics of a medical professional. I think we should look back to see how we do our work, media ethics and legal ethics as well. So it says here, in one of the major, at least 4 of the major newspapers, abortion clinic sensationalized. Yeah. So many of you might not be familiar, and you might be thinking, is abortion legal in Malaysia? How many people think abortion is legal in Malaysia? Yes. How many of you think it's illegal?
But from the perspective of the government, right?
No, just as legal or illegal.
Oh, legal.
From the perspective of law in Malaysia. So I would say about 30%. I mean, in our experience, most doctors don't know. So 30% is better than most doctors. Yeah. So the answer is abortion is permissible in Malaysia. And actually, we're quite progressive compared to other countries in the region. About 25 years earlier, in 1989, there was a historic amendment to our penal code. And previously, it was illegal in law. And this was primarily because we had a lot of unsafe abortion and leading to maternal mortality. And our unsafe abortions were done by BOMO, Bidan. BOMO and Bidan are these traditional healthcare workers, the first point of contact usually back in the day. And over the 1970s, our maternal mortality dropped drastically. And because we extended primary healthcare, especially antenatal care out to the community. So up until 1989, they realized, okay, yes, it's illegal, it was done by BOMO and Bidan and all that sort, but they also recognized that you need safe abortion services. So progressive in Malaysian terms, and I'm sorry to be crude. Yeah. So in section 312, I just want you to remember the section 312 because it says it's illegal, but there's an exception clause that's inserted. And that exception clause states that a registered medical practitioner, so not anyone can do it, is under good faith, makes an opinion that the termination, I use the word termination and abortion interchangeably, the termination would involve risk to the mother's life or affect the mental and physical health of the mother. So with that, a doctor who's registered can do termination evaluation. You don't have to be a specialist, you don't have to have 2 consultants, and you don't have to be in a hospital. So this is an unprecedented story of Malar. Name has been changed slightly. She's a young Nepali migrant worker that came to Penang to work in Sony in 2013. So she paid an agent about 4,000 ringgit to get a work permit for a salary about 1,000 ringgit a month. She became pregnant in October 2014. So as you do, it was an unwanted pregnancy, so she sought and underwent an abortion by a GP at 6 weeks pregnancy. And when the procedure was completed, MOH, a Ministry of Health inspector, we have a unit called UCAPS, it's Enforcement for Clinic Standards. This team decided to make an enforcement raid, and a police report was made at that time. During the time of the procedure, there was a sensational media raid at the clinic at the time of the inspection, which is those photos which you saw in the beginning. So this, the whole process, it was really demeaning treatment of the victim. Subsequent to that day in the clinic, there was a high-profile arrest made on the factory floor, actually, and she had to change into prison garb in the factory, and she was placed in police lockup for a month, awaiting an interpreter. So no court case, nobody knew what was happening to her. Subsequently, when the date of the court case arrived, she was accompanied by a Hindi interpreter, and mind you, she was a Nepali lady. And the judge allowed the hearing. So, you know, we go like, Hindi, Nepali, what's the difference? The judge went the same thing. Allowed the hearing, she was distressed. Can you imagine her position? She's distressed, she's confused, and she didn't know what was going on, she pleaded guilty. And she was sentenced to 12 months in jail. Hence being the first person to be prosecuted and convicted guilty for having a termination at 6 weeks pregnancy by a qualified medical practitioner. So all this is actually initiated by government, it's all on record. So agencies that were involved was the Ministry of Health, Police, the AGC, the Attorney General Chambers, and the DPP, which is the Public Prosecutor's Office. So she was found guilty. She was put up in one of the prisons on the mainland, and that's when nobody knew about her, except the doctor that was had done the procedure, a few people. And subsequently after that, Dr. Chung and Sally found out from Tenaga Nita. I think the doctor was at least, they tagged Dr. Chung about it. And the NGO reps visited the jail. And you can talk to them about their experience. They had no idea what she looked like. They just heard that she was out there in the prison somewhere. They had only her name. So they went all the way, can you imagine the 2 people, just looking for a lady that they didn't know, but they knew had been subjected to grave injustice. So there, for the first time meeting her, they discovered that she did not understand the charge that had been read to her in court. And there was no legal counsel present. The Swanee HR officer that would have known, Swanee HR agreed with the verdict, and apparently the embassy was informed, but nothing was done. So she's just lying in prison, where actually, when we talked to her, she said all her other prison friends said, we've got abortions done before and we've never got caught. Like, why are you in prison, you know? So NGO subsequently sought legal aid, and appeal was done to High Court, and it was declared a mistrial. So she was released on bail, but a retrial was ordered. Still ordered. So this is prominent press coverage continuing sensationalization. But the NGOs really tried and the lawyers really pushed. And the whole process brings to, you get questions on the conduct of the employer and the prosecution, or in this term I would say misconduct. So although she was no longer guilty, Sonny refuses to reinstate her. There was no letter of dismissal given. The trial proceeded with monthly hearings. So can you imagine, she has to already be put through this. She needs to repeatedly go to court. The DPP, Deputy Public Prosecutor, calls all witnesses except the doctor that performed the procedure, which is key in this, how do you call it? The spirit of the law that was done. And they were subsequently unable to prove the abortion took place because nobody knew. You just had, yeah. No, you cannot prove because you didn't bring it to court. They didn't have enough to prove, or they didn't have anything to prove. They had photos, media, all these other people, assuming that she did it, but nothing to prove a case. And finally, after they closed their prosecution case, the doctor was called. And so the doctor asserted that abortion was done according to the law. And he had made his decision equating to mental risk and the risk to life. He had no problem with the thing. And rightly so, the judge acquitted her without calling for a defense. You know, and remember what I said, that law was done to, because we were focused on BOMOs and we don't want them. It was, if you prosecute anybody, you prosecute the person performing the abortion, right? I'm never the patient. So in this case, they had no case, and rightly so, the judge acquitted her. So what legal support was continued by the NGOs. The events caused a dismissal by Sony. She became homeless. She couldn't go back to work. She stayed 8 months in the charity shelter while being tried, and they had to bring her back and forth, keep her support. After 11 months of this ordeal, she was acquitted, but the appeal is still pending. So I remember the day when she was acquitted, we were all so happy, and then they brought her directly to KLIA, put her on the first flight, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Sally.
The first flight, it was decided to
send her home? Yeah, send her home.
Her parents wanted her to go home, understandably, and at one point we were hopeful because we'd had talks with Sony that they said if she's not guilty, they would pay her for the 8 months that she had worked, because we couldn't understand why she wasn't allowed to continue working. There was no reason for it, as far as we were concerned. And then they said that they hadn't agreed to that. And so she wasn't going to get any back pay. And so her parents were calling her home. It would have been actually quite difficult for her, I think, to return to continue work. Some good people collected some money for her so she could go home with something. And yes, within the 2 weeks before the appeal was made, she went home and they did appeal the case. So we just told her don't come back to Malaysia.
So she's back in Nepal, empty-handed, demoralized. Of course, it's such a horrible experience. There's no compensation from any of the parties involved. Or suffering of part also.
Sony also didn't give the compensation. But what did the union do in cases like this? Because this is a union's work, I think, to fight for the right of the workers, legal work. Can you highlight?
Okay.
Maybe we can discuss that in the end. But I'm not sure at this point if the unions were actually so yeah, but the RRAAM and other NGOs did rally authorities. So I'm not sure at this point whether the MTUC was involved. Definitely the Naganita and JAG, the Joint Action Group for Gender Equality, which includes WCC here in Penang. We worked behind the scenes. We met allies, we met senior officers in the Ministry of Health, the Attorney General chambers, knowing that they had no case, but no action was taken to withdraw the case. And is this because bureaucrats must not lose face? Some people in the ministry are saying, yes, they don't have a case, and especially doctors that we talk to, but this, it's a systemic problem, and we are not, this is one of our challenges that we have. No action was done to withdraw the case. We also continue to raise points of law, the contradictions in policy statements that were made and implications for women's health in general. So we also analyzed what happened. How was action taken against Malad? When in essence, remember I told you under 312 section 312 the penal code, abortion is permissible in Malaysia, and she satisfied all these criteria. So what the DPP did was there's an unprecedented application of penal code section 315 and not 312. So just as a brief summary, I mean, just as an umbrella, 315 is a criminalizing an act done to prevent a child from being born alive or to cause it death after birth. In general terms, this is the baby dumping law. So if you give birth and you do something to cause that baby, or if a husband harms a wife who is pregnant, for example, domestic violence case, and the baby is over 24 weeks, you can use this law. Nothing to do with termination of pregnancy and abortion, but this section was used as a charge. And in Malaysia, the DPP has a final say on the charge that is put across. So in Malaysia, it's only been applied to termination fetus is viable after 24 weeks of gestation, as in the UK. And this attempt by the ADC and DPP to apply this section would nullify application to doctors given under section 312, which is a protective law that we have. So this is what they did. Whether it's right or wrong, I mean, it's clearly misguided, but this is what they did. So the question not only is how was action taken against Malar, but we also have to ask why was action taken against Malar? Because like I said, 25 years, nobody, no Malaysians have ever been prosecuted, no issue about this law. So this, as I said in the beginning, highlights the severe intersectionality of injustice that the systems in Malaysia and other countries, I would say, provide against certain individuals who are not in positions of privilege. For example, is it because she was a woman, migrant worker? I mean, is it because she didn't understand? Is it because she was racially discriminated? She wasn't Malaysian, non-citizen. She was already in a lower socioeconomic group. She didn't have enough money. She didn't know where to go. She had no access to justice, no access to the law in Malaysia, no legal protections, and also the stigma surrounding SRH in Malaysia and conservative societies around the globe. These are, I mean, so many factors. And so many factors actually just sort of compounded against this one Nepali migrant worker who was in this situation. And also, I mean, these are her factors, but there's also systemic factors such as the immigration law and work permit structure, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. Media sensationalism, huge thing, and why was it done? There's a lack of legal protections and safeguards surrounding health in general and sexual reproductive health. It also calls for us as medical professionals what's MOH policy and what is their stand on access to SRHR in the global context. They say something outside, but something else is happening in Malaysia, especially in the environment of increasing conservatism. So which brings us to a lot of repercussions to access of safe abortion in Malaysia. We estimate about 90,000 abortions occur annually. I use 150 now because Ministry of Health has acknowledged it is higher, 150,000 abortions annually. That works out to about 25 abortions per hour across states. 90% is provided in the private sector, and this is usually unreported. We have high-profile prosecution caused by, this high-profile prosecution has already led to so many other things. It's led to most GPs provide safe abortion services. What they did was they stopped providing services. So that's your access already out there. They either stopped providing services for safe terminations or they increased their criteria. So previously they would do 12 weeks of pregnancy, now they would just do 5 or 6. So this whole, issue of a gap we're creating has shown that women will and are accessing other non-regulated sources of abortion services, whether it's in clinics, back alleys, or online. There's been no public reaction from professional bodies. The Malaysian Medical Association and OGSM refused to say anything. We have talked in appeals behind closed doors. But nobody wants to put out a public statement because it's counterproductive because political leadership throughout, whether it's political parties, the government, or even professional bodies. So what do we see as service providers in our clinics? We know that most migrant workers are young women, and we see that many of them are under 25. So they would be, and they will also, in Malaysia at this time, start to be sexually active. We see that there's no provision for contraceptive advice and services in places of work. There are clinics in certain factories, especially the big multinational companies. They have clinics, but nothing about contraceptive services and SRHR services in general. It's in an open reproductive health clinic in Penang, where I work. There's about 30% of our clients are women migrant workers who are seeking abortions. We get about 60 clients per month. 60 clients per month of women migrant workers. And what we see, the partners are both Malaysian and non-Malaysian. So all of the clients that we're talking about here are non-Malaysian, but their partners might be both. Some of the partners are back in the country of origin, and they might or might not know that they are pregnant. Sometimes they go back for Raya or to renew their contract. They get pregnant. By the time they find out they are, 2-3 months pregnant, they go back home. Many prefer to keep their jobs rather than the pregnancy. And sometimes, for me, I try to ensure that my client is making a decision based on her own agency, own choice. But really, in our ecosystem, how much is she making her decision based on her own choice? There's so many other factors that's actually causing her duress, stress, and and literally she's alone. So she has no support on how to make this choice. So there's a problem as well of the timing of annual medical checks with pregnancy health. So we see this a lot. They come when they are supposed to do their annual medical checks. That's when they find out they're pregnant. And then we need to do something urgently because Formima test is next week. So that's very dangerous as well because it adds another dimension to our clients. So what are special restrictions for migrant workers in this context? And in the case study that we've seen as well. So in Sony, there was actually a contractual condition including not having a romantic relationship. Not even saying like, don't be pregnant. You can't be in any romantic relationship, right? I don't know whether that's throughout, so maybe that's one of the research things that you can look out for. But this is throughout. Evidence of pregnancy results in immediate dismissal. Formima is the official kind of agency overseeing medical, I suppose everything, health in migrant workers. And they have an official guidelines, you can look at that. There's anecdotal evidence of a large number of abortions for migrant workers to avoid dismissal. A few case studies have been shared. We see about 60 per month. There are many other abortion services, safe abortion services providers in Penang, but we are open. People that come to us, I would say, are more empowered. They know somebody. But what about, people who are undocumented, those who are between work permits, those who really don't know what's going on? And many of them are, they have friends who've come before, those sort of things. What if they're from countries which don't have the language that we speak as well? This includes all Malaysian companies and multinationals as operators. So electronics, garment, and domestic work. They come from various countries as well, Indonesia, Vietnam, Nepal, Cambodia, and Myanmar. So what are specifically SRH challenges for migrant workers that we see? So as I said before, regulations for migrant workers include annual checks. Infectious diseases, from a public health perspective, that seems to be our top priority in this. But pregnancy is a bar. So certain countries, if you look at immigration policy, maybe HIV in Singapore, they sort of send you back or encourage sending you back. Here it's not high on the list. But if you're pregnant, they send you back. Okay. Contract terms include not having those ridiculous romantic relationships. Pregnant workers either seek abortion or dismiss and sent home, or I don't know whether they sent home, sometimes they just let go, right? There's lack of access to contraception, counseling, and information services. So even if they send clients to us for contraception commodities, at least there's a huge gap in counseling and information services, which is easy to provide, but it's not there. SRHR services is lacking for men as well as women. So I think in our context, even anytime we speak about women, women migrant workers, for example, we have to engage men and see where men fit into this whole system as well. And this is a huge part, I think. Sexual violence is not reported due to systemic barriers. We see it. I think one gap in our clinic is we don't follow up on this because, I mean, clearly it's not the most urgent thing, but this is one thing which we can do as well. And we see cases, it's not reported. I mean, the more you talk to them, the more you have suspicion that it happens, but they have absolutely nowhere to go. So finally, just a few research questions that we just try to brainstorm about. Just looking at a rights-based approach and migrant worker contracts versus rights, right? So this thing of romantic relationships, it's a refusal of basic right to association. And when we say SRHR, sexual reproductive health and rights, there's so many rights under sexual reproductive health and rights, right? All those, maybe you can list 20 that rights that are related are not addressed. Abortion law is not recognized, definitely, and it's a law in Malaysia. So you just read from a legal perspective, why is it not the same for them in the same jurisdiction? So premature expulsion of migrant workers benefit agencies. We definitely see this. So in a larger ecosystem, why does that clause happen for pregnancy? I mean, immediate dismissals. There's many other agencies involved. And finally, this basic inhuman treatment of workers by authorities because of the lack of human rights that we caused. So that was it. I would like to, I mean, this is just a brief overview of the case study. I'm sure Sally has a lot of experience because she was kind of key. Sally and Dr. Chu. So we would like to actually acknowledge that what we did as women's rights organizations was a result of teamwork. And I agree with you, Lily, because it's how we actually realized that was the gap. RRAAM does reproductive health, but we don't have enough capacity. We need to actually leverage on different. We had an extra thing of the geographical situation, that it was good that the Naganita had a base in Penang. But you know, in our analysis, what if it happened in Pahang somewhere, or in Pernis, maybe they would have gone, the prison was in Kedah, right? But what if it happened in Terengganu somewhere? Would we have the capacity to leverage against other NGOs to actually go and do what we did? And so this is internally, it took a lot of reflection as well. So in particular, we'd like to wish to acknowledge the works of members of RRAAM who give more on financial support, Dr. Prema Jayaraj and WCC, because they were point coordinators of JAG group here. Sally, for the volunteer and shelter manager for Naganita. Ms. Luna Segar, his legal counsel, who acted as defense counsel pro bono. So that was a huge thing because it was one of the key cases, we think, and he took it up. As well as the many sympathetic well wishes who donated to her and support for shelter expenses during the trial. I would like to say as well, we don't really acknowledge enough that what she went through. We should acknowledge her as much as we can. And we try to, some individuals keep in contact with her, and we appreciate her work in actually moving our advocacy as well. And her strength, I would say, in dealing with this. A key interesting thing is she didn't understand Bahasa when she went in. After 11 months of being in prison and picking up BM, she could speak Malay and she could actually understand what was going on. So she was excellent, I think. Okay, thank you very much.